Today we're talking about a true off-road icon, a groundbreaking model that redefined what the automotive world knew about SUVs. Known for its bold design and unmatched performance, it's a vehicle that commands respect from enthusiasts and casual drivers alike. This beast delivers an exhilarating driving experience, whether you're cruising on the highway or conquering rugged terrains. Its off-road capabilities could challenge an H1 Hummer, which made it a favorite for world leaders and celebrities alike. This vehicle isn't just about performance and power, it's about making a statement. It embodies the perfect blend of luxury and utility, proving that an SUV can be both stylish and functional in a way that only Lamborghini can. But let's be real here. Who wouldn't fall in love with such an iconic SUV? No, of course I'm not talking about the Urus. I'm talking about the one and only Lamborghini LM002. Feast your eyes on this absolute behemoth. Only 300 of these monsters were ever produced, and while you'll find plenty of YouTube videos covering the history and the driving experiences, today we're peeling back the layers to give you a deep dive into the mechanics. But this is Fluid MotorUnion. Of course, if it's here, it's a unique challenge for us to conquer. And this one is as unique as it is challenging. An LM modified with a 9.4 period-appropriate Lamborghini Marine V12, meaning it's more insane than stock. So grab your pen lights because this Rambo Lambo is about to get inspected. But before we do that, if you could take a moment and give us a small gesture of appreciation by hitting like, so this content gets out to more people and we can continue to put more resources to make our content better. Tell us what you'd like to see more of on this channel in the comments, and while you're at it, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Let's kick things off with a little history lesson on this tank on wheels. The LM002 was Lamborghini's grand attempt to snag a military contract. In fact, LM stood for Lamborghini Military, or in Italian, but I'm not going to butcher it. There were whispers of some Middle Eastern countries wanting to order a fleet, but when the drivetrain proved less than stellar for actual off-road missions, those orders disappeared faster than this thing could chug fuel. But because Lamborghini is Lamborghini, they pivoted and decided to market this beast as an exotic off-roader instead. By the late 1980s, this 5,700-pound monster was in the hands of pop stars and dictators alike. We're talking about bespoke models crafted to order, everything from the standard version to heavily armored configurations for those who wanted to feel safe even when rock crawling. This bad boy rolled out to a roster of legendary owners. Sly Stallone, Tina Turner, Van Halen, Mike Tyson, Uday Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi, and even Pablo Escobar. Talk about a mixed bag. Now let's talk about the heart of this monster. Under the hood, they were equipped with the 5.2-liter V12 engine straight out of the Lamborghini Countach. It's a work of art until you get the 6 Weber carburetors. These babies needed constant babysitting, especially if you're thinking about taking this beast off-road. Imagine trying to keep 6 carburetors in sync while bouncing over rocks and mud. It's like juggling flaming swords on a unicycle. But in true Lamborghini fashion, they eventually got smart and switched to a more off-road friendly fuel injection system in the later models. Fun fact, one of the LM002s was even fitted with the L804 engine, a 7.2-liter V12 destined for offshore powerboat racing. Talk about overkill. They aptly named it the LM004. So is this an LM004? No. This particular vehicle had the original Countach V12 in the past, but in order to amp up its Lambo-ness to a level that would be expected in this modern age of excess, it was swapped with a 9.4-liter Marine Lamborghini V12. That's a displacement increase of a whole Mercedes Sprinter diesel engine. The 7.2 Marine motor in the LM04 was stated to have 720 horsepower. My estimation would be between 780 and 900, which is good because the engine probably weighs half a ton. But that brings us to why it's here. Immediately after the conversion, which looks great by the way, the rig started overheating. Now we've dabbled a bit into the boat world, believe it or not, and the differences between cooling methodology could be part of the reason. But we're really gonna have to take a look at this thing to determine what's going on. There's 300 of these and they came with a Countach motor. This isn't the Countach motor.
No, it's not.
It's a Marine V12. So I guess you could get these.
Get one of those.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how they got this motor. I'm assuming it was sitting in some boatyard and they thought it'd be cool to put in here. Like, as far as I know, there's two kinds of these that would be used in the same area. The L800, which was the higher horsepower one, and the L900, which is like the one that's supposed to be reliable. But they both make over 700 and something horsepower. Although this says 9.4, I don't know if that's like a mistake because it's supposed to be 9.3. So, or if this thing's like punched over, who knows? All I know is this motor didn't come in here. So, boat motors, right? They usually have water pumps that are electric.
So yeah, we just need to feed it constant water too.
And there's no water pump on this thing that's not electric. So, guess why it's here? Overheating.
Probably needs water fed to it.
You guessed it right. They asked me to come look at this thing, and obviously, the swap looks pretty good. I don't really see too much like janky. I mean, I don't like this reservoir tank for the coolant. Yeah. It's got two of them. I don't know if they're trying to like bleed it out better, but the thing that struck me was like, while we've got a huge radiator, like massive.
Oh, that is.
Like, look at the.
What is that? Like a 6-row?
Look at the neck on this water pump.
Yeah, it looks kind of small.
Like, even if this was for a big block, I don't know if this would be enough flow. Like, it necking down here, and then see how this hose routes over this way? On the same side?
Yeah. What does that connect to?
I just feel like, which way is the direction of flow supposed to be? You know? Is that even correct? You'd almost want the water pump lower, less likely to cavitate. I'd imagine it'd be more likely to cavitate up top. So, like, those are my two concerns right away. We'll have to see.
Maybe it's going through the radiator first, and or I guess whatever. Then the cylinder heads.
I mean, we'll have to see, but I don't know. There's some things that, like, if I was putting a boat motor into a car, I would not think that would work. And seeing it on here kind of makes me wonder, like, does it work? But the level of quality of the other work seems pretty good for the most part. So I don't know. We'll have to kind of just test it and find out. But I mean, this is.
I like this little transmission for the distributor.
Yeah, to put it back, but it looks like they had to make this block here. So I don't know what was here. This looks like it's like 3D printed or something.
Yeah, so does this.
It must be like, for however they're running.
It's just like a throttle sensor. What do you need a throttle sensor on your carburetor for?
That is interesting. Right here's a plaque that says, I'm not very good at Italian, but I'm pretty sure it says, this motor's for a boat, don't put it in a car. A lot of things done really nice, and then you get to these areas with these wires just kind of hanging in here, and the level of quality the thing was built to, and then you see these loose wires and stuff like that. We can't leave it. Even if we're just looking at the cooling system, we're gonna have to make this nicer, try to leave this car better than how it came in. So,
yeah, it kind of sticks out when everything else looks nice.
Yeah, just stuff laying here. I mean, it's not bad. Maybe they weren't finished. Who knows? But I don't know. I don't like it. And we're not going to leave it.
Where's the marinara reservoir?
The chassis is another marvel. At the time, it was never before seen on an off-road vehicle, usually used exclusively on racing cars or the most sophisticated sports cars. Of course, I'm talking about a tube frame chassis. Thus was born a practically indestructible, extraordinary vehicle capable of both cruising at highway speeds at sports sedan averages, but also tackling extremely demanding off-road routes. It was designed to withstand the rigors of off-roading while driving with heavy armor that some of the owners would opt for. I'd reckon it's the secret to how this thing can feel like piloting a tank, but still somehow be a Lambo. The LM002 boasts a double wishbone suspension at all four corners, designed to conquer anything from urban jungles to sandy deserts, and enough suspension travel to make your average Jeep blush. About 9.8 inches in the front and 11.8 inches in the rear. But you'd expect that by the way it looks. But what you wouldn't expect with its impressive ground clearance is the ride is surprisingly smooth, and it handles for a vehicle that weighs more than 2.5 tons. In fact, Automobile Magazine said it corners like a sports car for King Kong. Now, the original Pirelli tires are worth mentioning, and not just because they were specifically designed for both sand and asphalt. It's the widest front tire ever fitted to a production car. Ever. Those are 345 width, the same front and rear, and they were so big that they kind of just looked right. While the original did have drums, which are questionable on a Lambo and really questionable on a nearly 3-ton vehicle, of course this thing has been fitted with massive ventilated disc brakes all around, which are essential given the weight and speed that this beast will reach.
I just noticed a mirror.
Look at this.
Like, how do you have that mirror on this truck?
Like giant truck and this little Italian mirror. This is a 1350. And like this isn't even as wide as this OEM tires. We got some leaks. But that's kind of expected with this kind of stuff. So what's cool is that Lamborghini used a lot of double wishbones in a lot of their supercars. And honestly, this thing looks like it could be out of a Lamborghini. Aside from the steering
it looks like
box.
the same style.
Right? The arms.
Got some serious suspension though.
I think like someone must have reinforced all this stuff though. That doesn't look factory, but I could be wrong.
I think it normally has another shock here.
Yeah, I think they added that shock and they had to add the bracing for it. Oh, dude, it's got Kings. It's got Kings, bro. What is this transmission?
What is it?
I could put in this
Like
part
the
more.
pan almost looks like a 6 HP, like a ZF transmission.
Oh,
I don't know though. I don't know transmissions.
4L80.
Oh, they hit that big of a pan though?
I guess so.
That's a pretty nice exhaust.
I'd say it's really nice, other than the fact that like they don't merge the two, and there's all the room in the world to merge the two.
Yeah, but then it might not sound like a boat.
It does sound like a boat. I'll give you that. It's got the little hole to enhance the boat noise too. It's a nice detail. I don't know if it actually does anything for sound, but it definitely sounds like a boat.
Oh yeah, I guess. There's nothing driving the front wheels anymore.
Oh, they took it out? I guess they had
Probably
to.
room for the massive engine.
This particular model is no longer four-wheel drive, so the axles have been removed from the front with enough placement for the shocks. This is fully rear-wheel drive, which is still pretty neat. Not as neat, but I don't know how you make
It's to get the boat feeling though in a car.
an oil pan that'll fit the front
Yeah, you'd have your diff hanging down
diff
like
and
way too much.
Yeah, there'd be a lot there. There'd be a lot of weight. They say that this engine, even though it's a lot of aluminum, weighs over 1,000 pounds. Just the engine, not the accessories or anything else.
Holy crap.
Oh, look at these axles. Like, the axles are as big as the drive shaft. We won't be breaking those.
Yeah, this just looks like a Diablo suspension, but 2 times as big.
They actually, from the factory, came with drums. Like really big
Really?
drums, yeah. But as you could tell
I guess that was a truck thing back then.
from these plates,
Yeah, the brakes don't look.
they somehow got a very large rotor on top of there, which is probably why they couldn't go with the old wheels anymore. Not that they'd want to in this situation, but those are huge.
Yeah, that's true. What are the original ones? Like 16-inch wheels?
A 17, I think, yeah.
It was probably big for back then.
I like how the diff's in here. It's like the diff case is pretty much the part of the subframe. It's an integral member. Adds rigidity. Look at this. Little proportioning valve. I guess it just slows the brake bias instead of like biasing it more towards the front. You still get the same input, but you could just slow down the response. I guess that'd be necessary for the friggin' giant brakes in the back. Yeah, all I'm seeing is a lot of leaks, but this car has been sitting for a while. They've tried running it. Apparently it overheats like 10 minutes at idling and they can't even really drive it. So they've tried a few things. I did ask if they did a cylinder gas like detection test in the coolant, but I didn't get a straight answer on that. So I'd probably like to start off with that. Just make sure that we're not dealing with like head gaskets that were put on wrong and that's why it's overheating. But then we'll get into the efficiency of the cooling system, you know, if things have to be rerouted, if that pumps enough. Probably just a lot of looking up part numbers and seeing what the flow is. I mean, 9.4 liters, and then all of the supporting cooling for that. And then the cooling is actually done by just the water the boat runs through, pushing through there as fast as the pump would let it.
Yeah.
So like, it's probably gonna need a good amount of volume. All right, check this out, Keller. So like I was saying, like they had to have rushed it or be rushed at the end because what is that there? Steering shaft?
Yeah.
And what is that there?
Oh, there's wires rubbing on it.
Yeah, just rub them next to there. I mean, you don't do all this like high-end work and then just forget this last part. Like, they probably just didn't get to it or moved on or something. But
yeah, maybe they didn't want to like wrap it all up
if they had to take it out again or something. Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, with how nice everything else is done, it just stands out.
Like a lot of thought went into all this, and then like to not have those last wires done, it's kind of like, why?
What is that steering shaft though? Like it just crumples if you get in an accident?
Yeah, I think that's the point. But you'd have to be moving pretty quick. This is one of the first SUVs to use a tube frame, like all the way through the car.
How much oil do you think's in this thing?
We got to pull it to see because I'm curious now too. Especially it's got 2 reserve filters up here.
Those are big filters too.
That's wild. I mean, all in all, I mean, I didn't expect it to need much on like suspension stuff and other things. I think mostly we're here just to kind of get the cooling system running, but we always like to look the car over, make sure there's no other glaring issues that we might miss before we start. So other than the leaks, which I'm sure they know about, this car's been sitting a while, you know, that's expected. We're probably going to dive right into just the stuff that we saw, cleaning up the wires, but first and foremost, making sure that this engine's good and that we aren't trying to correct an issue of a bad engine. You know, we actually do have a cooling issue that isn't something mechanically wrong that potentially might be unfixable because of the rarity of the engine. So that's where we'll start and go from. So guess the size of the gas tank. Just give me a guess. You have to guess. It's big.
Big by this truck's standards, like 25
Yeah.
gallons?
It's bigger.
It's pretty big. 30? 35?
Keep going.
Where is it though? I don't even see it.
You got to guess the number though.
45 then.
Keep going.
Come on. It's not bigger than that.
Keep going. All right, I'll give you a clue. I did the math, and if you filled it up with premium, it'd be over $400 to fill up.
So that's like 80 gallons?
76 gallons. So, and that's like that's the worst part. Like, look where they put it too.
All that?
So, this is the frame still. They're just kind of like rivet panels. The frame's here. This goes over it, but it starts behind the passenger seat and then goes under the rear passenger seat. Like you're sitting on the fucking gas tank in the back seat. Goes both sides and then over. It's not even like exposed. It's like literally under the passenger seat.
You have to have that much.
Yeah, it connects like one to the other. 76 gallons. With this motor, that would
need it now though with a 9.4 liter.
With this motor, it would get you probably about 600 miles. Isn't that
I
horrible?
guess that's boat life.
Yeah. Now let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say gas guzzler. This beast comes with a whopping 76-gallon tank. That's right, 76 gallons, which is the biggest OE passenger vehicle tank that I've ran into. But if you know of a bigger tank, toss it in the comments. You could fill it up and drive a quarter of the way across the country, or just make a quick trip to the grocery store and back to the gas station. Good luck finding a gas station that can keep up with it, because this thing is as fuel efficient as a yacht, which is expectedly ironic. So this is that tire, 345/60. Look at this lip that's on there.
That's awesome.
It's like a military
It's like a rock guard before
safety rock guard
cool
ring.
wheels are made.
And then lower this lift gate. You're gonna like this. See if you can figure it out. It's not that hard, but you're gonna like how it lowers.
Oh, so like, it's close to the water, so you could just like dive in.
Yeah, it's got your little boat ramp. This even floats in the water. I mean, it's heavy, but it's got enough air in there, so.
Can you step on this? I feel like I'm gonna break something.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it, but I bet you could.
I mean, they must want you to. Like, there's diamond plate on it.
I'm so nervous.
Is this to drain the water?
Yeah, everything's nautical
It's like
field
a-
themed. And see, there's the gas tank. That's where you fill it up from.
Yeah.
So you see how it's behind the window? And then it goes down below the rear seats. Now, stepping inside is an experience all on its own. The interior is a curious mix of luxury and military-grade toughness. Leather seats, wood trim, and a dashboard with enough switches and dials to make you feel like you're piloting a fighter jet. It's a bizarre yet fascinating blend of opulence and overkill that truly reflect the spirit of Lamborghini. Isn't this hilarious that we keep making the boat references because of the boat engine, but everything looks like it'd be in a boat in here?
Like, it all fits too well. Maybe that's why they did it.
Like, it feels like this thing should have a boat engine in it. Let's put a boat engine in it. Look at the seats. Remember I was telling you about the tank being under there? Like, it actually looks like the tank's under there. Get the little boat fire extinguisher.
You need one of those on a boat.
Oh, this is weird. What is going on down here? I only sat on that side. What is this?
Wow, there's like no room for your feet.
Well, I mean, that's expected with a Lamborghini, so.
Yeah.
But like, is this a
even
glove
less
box?
room. Like, there's less room than a Diablo in here.
That's so cool. There's no glove box either. Is this a glove box? No, it's a vent.
Oh, I wonder if like the whole heater box is right there.
That's wild.
Like the wiper
inlet?
switch comes straight out of the dash, but it still has a little leather boot on it.
And then this trans tunnel. What do you think they're hiding under here? I've got questions and I want to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of room.
Like, I know
lot
that
of
trans
space.
goes up high for clearance, but that's still a lot of room.
We've used the shifter before, but it actually kind of matches like
This
how
car?
utilitarian it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely aftermarket, so I'm guessing that these were mostly manual. I think you had, like, some people could opt them for automatic, but they all came, you know, manual transmission, which is pretty funny if knowing how the Countachs and Diablos feel to drive around with that heavy-ass clutch.
Yeah.
But, like, imagine moving, like, a heavy-ass car. Like, it's still pretty cool.
This is cool.
I hope all these buttons work. Oh my God, we're so high in the air. So there you have it, a sneak peek under the hood of the Lamborghini LM002 from a mechanic's perspective. It's ridiculous, over the top, and absolutely incredible. If you ever get a chance to see one of these in person, take a moment to appreciate the sheer audacity of it. This isn't just a vehicle, it's a declaration of excess. A very loud and thirsty declaration. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the world's rarest and wildest vehicles. What do we have next on this car? Well, like I was telling Keller, we've got to figure out how to get this thing to cool for the streets. And this thing kind of sounds like a boat. Now, we weren't asked to do it by the owner, but maybe we'll mess around with the exhaust and check out if we can get this thing to sound more like a V12. Until next time, keep your engines running and your gas tanks full. If you can afford it,